Welcome to the Fitness Oracle Daily Show. I am your host, John Katsavos, and today is M&M Mondays. And we're going to be talking about the myths and misconceptions that are surrounding isolated training. Now I'm going to be very, very transparent with you guys. I used to use this term all the time. From the time where I started working out in the gym to up until the time where I learned a little bit more about what that term really means. So I'm guilty of using it, but when I learned what the term really meant, I changed myself. I changed the verbiage that I use with my clients to explain to them what it really means. Now, the reason why I don't like the term isolated training is because in order to isolate something, by definition, you have to remove it from its environment and put it away somewhere. So I would take this pen. In order for me to isolate this pen, I would have to put it in that closet behind me and leave it there. That's isolated. So the term cannot apply unto the body because there's nothing isolated in the body. We all have supporting musculature that actually helps support the opposite effect of whatever force that we're applying, that we're giving, that we're giving it, and the motion and the movement that we're actually asking the body to do. In a nutshell, Newton's third law of motion applies here. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So if I do a bicep curl, right? If I do a bicep curl like this, there's going to be an equal and opposite. Let's do something a little bit more easier than a bicep curl, a front raise. So your arms are right down by your side and you're going to lift your arm right up when you have a 5-pound dumbbell in your hand. So you have 5 pounds of force over here, the application of force, and you have 5 pounds of force happening at the joint. So when you come up, there's going to be an opposite reaction of 5 pounds coming down. Oops, I'm hitting my mic. Let's see if I can do this without hitting my mic, right? So, and I'll come to the side here so you guys can see better. So basically what you're doing is as you're coming up, there's a downward force of 5 pounds going this way. So I need my lat to fire. I need my pec to fire. I need my shoulder to fire. I need my traps to fire. I need my rotator cuff to fire, just to pull the scapula down, the shoulder blade, pull it down so your arm can come up and above your head. So there's a lot of different forces that are going on. And in order for me to do that movement, even seated, I need these guys to turn on. And we can go deeper into that rabbit hole. We can go into the oblique. We can go into the abdominals. We can go, if the weight is heavy enough in the hand, into your legs, because those forces are going to start to multiply throughout the chain. So you're going to need all these supporting structures to fire in order for the skeleton not to go all over the place. So this is why I don't like using this term isolated. We're going to isolate the quadriceps while we're in while we're doing quads. You cannot isolate anything. Quadriceps is another example without me going off too far. You know, the seated leg extension. You're sitting down on the machine and you're kicking your legs out like that with a weight on the top of, in the front of your part, in the front part of your legs. That's not an isolated movement. I don't care what you say. That is not an isolated movement, and I will prove it to you on Wednesday. We're not going to go into it, but I will prove it to you on Wednesday that it is not isolated. You are using supporting structures in order for your skeleton not to fall apart while you're lifting that mass. Mass is another thing that we're going to get into, but not this week. There's a lot to get into. So why do we use that term? We use that term to numb the explanation down for the client. Imagine your trainer came up to you and said, okay, we're going to do a seated leg extension because we want to put, we want to put a little bit more focus on the quadriceps. You'd be like, what? So we want to isolate the quadriceps. That's not the proper term. And it does a disservice to the client. The client will not understand the, jargon that comes out of any industry. They just want to know that what works. And if you're going to make their life better in one way or another. And for us to do that in a quick and effective manner, we use everyday terms to make things sound like you can associate with. People sit in the leg extension machine and they think that they are isolating, I'm using air quotes, the quadriceps. You are not isolating the quadriceps. In order for you to isolate your quads, you would have to cut your quadriceps off your body and put them directly on that machine. That's isolation. Trying to break this myth with trainers is the hard part, because we want to explain these complex movements, these complex ideas that we have to help you become better. But the problem lies in the translation of what we're trying to express onto you and what you can comprehend. So personally, I just say, I just want to give your body a couple extra layers of support so we can put a little bit more focus on this muscle group. It's like, quote unquote, isolating the muscle, but you're not really isolating. And I prove it to my clients and they get it right away. So we have to change the way, in order for us to break this myth, we have to change the way we communicate with our clients, not treat them, one, as trainers. We're not supposed to treat them like that they don't understand anything, because they understand a lot, and their comprehension skills are through the roof. So for me, the biggest thing, in order for us to stop using bad terms, is to explain to the client, what am I trying to do? What am I trying to accomplish with this, and why? Some clients are like, I don't care. I just get me to do whatever. I don't care. I've had some of those, but the majority of them, they're like curious. They're like, okay, so why don't you want to call this isolated training? Because it's not. I can't isolate anything in your body. It's an impossibility. And if you can isolate something in your body, I will give you a year's salary. No problem. I'll give it to you. You cannot do it unless you remove it from the body. You can't. There's no way. There's always going to be a supporting muscle that comes in. Always. It's always going to happen. So tomorrow we're going to be talking with a very, 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 very inspiring young man. I'm going to call him a young man. He's a young man. Come from my old stomping grounds. Well, it's not really from my old stomping grounds. He's from Windsor, Ontario. I'm from Toronto. It's about a 4-hour drive, but still in Ontario. So I kind of consider it my stomping ground. Kevin McShann from Let's Have This Conversation. And we talk about a lot of really cool topics concerning, overcoming obstacles, fostering inclusion and diversity for the handicap in the workplace, finding equality and equity in the workplace for handicapped people, which I was actually quite shocked. I didn't realize that I thought we were a little bit more open to that, at, considering it's 2022 and, there's other problems at stake. And I found it mind-boggling that this even exists. So it was really eye-opening for me, and a lot of lessons, a lot of very valuable lessons for me to take in for myself, and not do these things. And we also talked about fitness success while living with a disability and making fitness a priority. And this guy is a huge advocate for those with disabilities. This is one of those episodes where you think it might be hard to listen to because of his disability, but believe me, this guy is genius. I loved every single minute of interviewing him. It was a great experience. I'm not going to say it was a great experience. It was a great conversation that I had with a very intelligent young man. And I really, I'm really grateful if you guys can just listen to it because it's really good. So I digress a little bit too much, as I usually do. Thank you for watching this episode, and I really hope that you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, and share this episode with someone who you think that might find a value to it. If you're listening to this on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Breaker, iHeartRadio, or whatever streaming service you use, please give us a 5-star rating and a positive review, as it will help us reach out to more people that are suffering from mental health issues. Before you go, I'd like to keep this conversation going by inviting you to signing up for your free account at PodInBox. Over the years, we have discovered that in order for us to achieve the greatness that we're destined for, we can't do it alone. So that you can find your place back in this world, we've come across this amazing tool called PodInBox, where we can get together and discuss this topic even deeper. All you have to do is click on the link in the show notes and sign up for your free account and find out for yourself how powerful community really is. Welcome to the Fitness Oracle Daily Show. I am your host, John Katsavos, and today is Weekly Wednesday Challenge. And we're going to be talking about learning to see the body as a unit rather than individual pieces. Now, this is a very tough concept to wrap your head around. I had a hard time wrapping my head around it. And I've spoken to pediatric doctors, I've spoken to many, many different medical professionals, and they all kind of give me this weird look every time I tell them, yeah, the body is not a bunch of different blocks of pieces. The body is a unit. If you affect one part of the body, the entire system shuts down. I wouldn't say shut down. I won't go that far shutting down. But what I would say is that it has a tendency of reverting back to default settings where it found itself safest in. That's what I would rather say. So I had it, like I said, I had a conversation with a pediatric doctor, and I told her, she was complaining to me about, I wasn't doing this. I was working in a hospital in IT. She thought I knew nothing about the body. And probably she's right. Like, there's still a lot that I don't know. She was complaining to me that she has headaches. And she told me about some kind of how she runs a lot and she keeps getting knee pain. I'm like, well, it could be you running, but you get the headaches because the femurs misaligned on the tibial plateau. So you probably have some form of muscular misalignment somewhere. Something might not be going proper right up the spine, causing you too much tension somewhere in the head neck area, and that may be triggering a headache constantly. She's like, "What are you talking about?" That doesn't make any sense. Like, really? So your nervous system has nothing to do when it comes up right up and down the spine. And tension on one side of the body won't trigger a pinching sensation in the nervous system on the other on that side. He's like, I'm a doctor. I know what I'm talking about. I'm like, yeah, you're a doctor and you don't know what you're talking about. Because when I put it to you like that, all of a sudden you're a doctor. You throw the doctor card on me. I never spoke to her about that again. Actually, I didn't speak to her again about anything because I don't want to surround myself with arrogant people like that. It's not, I don't care. I just don't care. So I wish I had my skeleton. I left my skeleton back in Toronto so I could help explain these concepts to you. Um, but if you think about it, the spine is about 23, 24 different bones that are stacked one on top of the other. And what ends up happening, so let me see if I can explain it to you with these cards. I use these cards. So this is basic general description of what the spine looks like. Okay. You have one bone sitting on top of another bone. They're flat, they're rectangular. Actually, they're a little bit cylindrical, and it spouts out this way, spouts out like in the front. So what happens when you have 20, I think it's about 24, yeah, 23 or 24 bones that are stacked up like this? It's not stable. It's not a stable structure, right? So if that happens, I mean, you can see what'll happen to the muscles, right? This side, muscles will get stretched, muscles will start to tense up. And you have nerves, nerve ending, or nerves that come right through the middle. So the stronger this side gets, that'll happen. That's an over exaggeration. It's a very over exaggeration, but it's not, it's plausible. Very, very, very highly unlikely that'll happen. Because if that'll happen, what'll end up happening is there's a cushion in between and it'll bulge out this way, and you'll hear the disc will bulge out this way, and you'll hear the doctors, yeah, we have to fix that. So what they do is they cut this, they trim it down, they leave it so it looks like that almost, and the cushion kind of slips back in, but they haven't done anything to the musculature. There's nothing that's in the musculature that'll help pull this bone. If all they had to do was go see a trainer, a proper trainer, or a therapist, and pull that bone down with a muscle, well, guess what's going to happen to the bulge? Nothing. It'll go slip back right in, and everything will be fine and dandy. So that's just one example of 1,000 things, a million different variations. That's just one simple example of a very common injury. And it may not even be that muscle. It may be another muscle. I've had clients where they've had that issue in their L1, L2, lumbar 1, lumbar 2 in their lower back. And the doctor said that we have to cut you open. We found out that it was a hip abductor that wasn't firing and allowing stability in his inner thigh to keep the femur, that big bone that we have in our upper leg, to stay up and in the proper position. So it would come down, removing this stability in this spine. Oh, that's bad. Wow. Not allowing this proper alignment. It moved the alignment. I don't know what it was because I never saw the x-ray or the MRI, because in Ontario and in Canada, It's next to near impossible to get those as a personal trainer because they don't view personal trainers and as professionals. It's just like, yeah, we're just gonna kick your butt and do that. We did that to ourselves. I'll be honest with you. We did that to ourselves. There's a lot of smart trainers out there. Anyways, so you're starting to see, I'm hoping you're starting to see how the body works as a unit, as a system. When one thing fails, it has a chain reaction right throughout the entire system. And it will be at the weakest link. And you've heard this before from so many different trainers. It'll be the weakest link that will give. But that may not be the issue. The issue may be somewhere else. So, and I'm hoping that you guys understand now that the body, no matter how much isolated and independent muscular systems are, you can't, it's not proper for someone to say that something like that. I mean, if a hip, abductor, and internal rotator is affecting the lower back, what else is it affecting? Shoulder integrity, maybe spinal integrity, maybe mid spine, maybe rib cage stuff, maybe the clavicle, maybe the jaw. It's all connected, right? The lower leg goes, it's not firing properly, and it doesn't understand tension. Well, yeah, things are going to start hurting somewhere. I don't know where. Your weakest link. And I get this question a lot. And it's like, okay, well, how long is it going to take me to get better? I'm like, I don't know. As long as it takes. As long as if your body can respond to it quickly, quickly. If it takes time, it takes time. It's just how your body is functioning. I can't look at your body as independent, different pieces. Oh, but John, what about I want my glutes to, oh, this is typical for women down here. I want my glutes to be big. I want that big juicy booty. Like, okay. You remember what we talked about with the spine just a little while ago? What's going to happen if you start to purposely, and this is throughout the entire industry, if you purposely train a specific group body type, body parts, for women, it's glutes. For guys, it's back, it's chest and arms. They don't do any legs, everything upper body. I see it. You see these big, huge guys with toothpick legs. What's going to end up happening? From everything that I just told you, from something that's very serious to where somebody was almost going under a knife, to purposely giving yourself imbalances. We need to start looking at the body as a unit rather than independent parts, because they don't exist in the human body. You do something to one part, it affects the entire system. Now, my challenge to you guys is it's twofold. First fold is trying to get over your head of seeing your body as an independent parts of systems, and rather as a unit. That's a tough one. It took me years to comprehend that. Years. And two, I want you to go and do a isolated movement. Preacher curl. The one with the machine or the bench that looks, it's like standing up, and it comes up 90 degrees and then down 45 degrees, and you lay your arms right over it and you do curls like that. So that's technically an isolated movement. I want you to I want you to see how isolated it really is. Grab a weight that's a little bit too heavy for you, that you can actually do like 6 reps. Okay. It's challenging. It's challenging. And I want you I want you to see how much tension is going through my traps, my chest, my shoulders, my triceps. How hard am I squeezing it? What's my face doing? Are my abs contracting? Are my legs planted and supporting me so my legs are engaged? Feel your body. That's what I want. Those are my 2 challenges for you. One, get your head around that your body is not in bits and pieces of isolated, independent body parts. It's part of a unit. And 2, do a preacher curl and feel your body with a challenging piece of mass. This week is going to be tough for a lot of people for many reasons. And if there's trainers out there, I just challenged you with it. And it's okay. It's all good. It's all good. So tomorrow's TGIF Hot Friday. Sorry, excuse me. Wow. Tomorrow is Throwback Thursday. And we're going to go back into my past, and I'm going to talk to you guys about my aha moment when all this came clear and what happened, where I found out, with the late great Peter Jason and the RTS training program and back in Toronto, and how it changed me, how it changed my view on exercise, how it changed my view on training, and how it changed my training style. This is the most profound time in my professional career as a trainer. I can't wait to share it with you guys. So thank you for watching this episode. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, and share this episode. If you are listening to this on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcast, Breaker, iHeartRadio, or whatever streaming service that you use, please give us a 5-star rating and a positive review, as it will help us reach out to more people that are suffering from mental health issues. But before you go, I'd like to invite you to keep the conversation going by signing up to your free account at PodInBox. Over the years, we've discovered that in order for us to achieve the greatness that we're destined for, we cannot do it alone. So in order for you to find your place back in this world, we've come across this amazing tool called PodInBox, where we can get together and discuss this topic even deeper. All you have to do is click on the link in the show notes and sign up for your free account and find out for yourself how powerful community really is. Until tomorrow, you guys have an awesome day.